Hello, beautiful friends. Michelle Francesca here. This is Inspiration for Life, and I want to speak today in this video about the turbulence that many of us are experiencing as we break through new atmospheres and land ourselves here embodied as the fully empowered individuals that we are. I want to speak to the pain and the sense of loneliness, fear, and loss that so many are experiencing at this time. Many areas of our lives, our world, even our souls are undergoing a renovation, and there is a shaking of core beliefs and perspectives and thought patterns and attitudes, as well as aspects of our lives relating to relationships and locations, vocations, religion, corporations, finances, career, and more. And with each new explosive hit of personal pain or collective pain, it is very essential that we realize what is actually happening and that we monitor how we are responding so that we do not lose ourselves at this time like splinters in the woodwork of radical transformation and change. And the sadder, the more difficult, challenging aspects of that so many are experiencing right now. Two words came to mind the other day that seem to speak to this, which are detach and gold, and they became the basis of this video and how it came to be put together today. I want to say a few words about new seasons, detaching from old seasons, coming into new seasons and new assignments that are paved with gold, that are written in gold. I want to speak to a subject that we don't often talk about, which is turning poison into gold. But how? How to turn poison, pain into gold? How to transmute the pain that is connected to memories and trials and transitions into pure gold within us. So let's talk about that. People, as I say, don't talk much about that. I think it's very different for each person. But as is described in this simple poem, I think that this is one way to perhaps put some words to what it is that we experience in the process of turning poison into gold. And it's this: no words exist to aptly converse the path of escape from the strychnine of hurt. The way is to feel, digest, and absorb, rendered helpless, so it feels, through the course. An action working deep within, immunizing, strengthening. Pain-filled grace in the cells of your soul, turning poison into gold. It's an alchemy, isn't it? It's a work of alchemy. It's like the way a homeopathic remedy would work. But before the healing comes, there's typically a bloom of the old painful symptoms. So many are experiencing that right now. So I want you to be encouraged that if you are feeling an immense pain, if you are feeling a great amount of turbulence, it may not be that you're going backwards. In fact, it's probably that you're breaking through a turbulent atmosphere to land the fullness of who you are. But in the process of that, some of those old patterns, some of those old feelings, some of those stuck cycles that are perhaps just ruminating around in our bodies, or in cycles and patterns in our relationships and other things, they are getting pushed to the surface. So if you are feeling especially turbulent right now, feeling a lot of pain, feeling a lot of discomfort and discordance, don't consider that to necessarily be a bad thing. It really could be a very good thing, as the bloom of symptoms coming through are ready now to be identified. And this is the key: identifying, acknowledging, giving some validation, but then allowing them to move on. And that is why turning poison into gold can be such a painful process, because we are laying the axe to the root. We're not just masking symptoms, we are becoming aware and having to have a willingness to endure as poisonous roots get cut or dissolved or burned away. So how to do this? I want to say that the first key really is being willing to sit with our pain. Now, this may be something that the world is fast losing its capacity to do. Children these days even are kept so busy that the art, the skill of quiet reflection is becoming extinct. We are really being programmed. We have learned to disassociate from our own body, how it feels, disassociate from our own souls, and to disregard or not even be aware consciously that the pain that we're experiencing is wanting to speak to us and offer us some wisdom. It's actually a pathway for gold, for something beautiful to come. Often you will see situations where humanity right now is becoming so dulled to their inherent God connection and spiritual senses, and relief from symptoms is being sought in vices and addictions and avoidance and indulgence and projection and infliction of pain on others, and we are being almost swallowed up in a technological grid that is almost virtually telling us what to think. So we need to get back in touch with ourselves. We need to get back in touch with this pain in order to be able to process it and allow it to become gold. So how do you cross that bridge and allow that poison to become something beautiful? I believe that very important also with sitting with that pain, being willing to endure through it, to allow it to process and teach us, is a willingness to love aspects of ourselves that have perhaps been in shadow, where the light of who we really are in God is obscured from our understanding. And we must be willing to be honest about our pain, to feel it, to stay with it. And at first there's going to be a million thoughts that come with that, right? We're going to feel the pain, the frustration, the anger, the sadness, the bitterness connected with the things that we've experienced. We're accustomed to just letting it just rumble around within us. And we may see faces if we sit with this process and hear the reruns of scenes and conversations, and the hurt will ricochet around in our brain and our heart and our body. But if we can stay with it, if we can be a container of stillness, we will get to a point where we can identify what that heartache is, where it lives, where it comes from, where disappointment has moved in, and where grief has found its lodging in our body. And it's essential that we don't turn away from those moments, that we begin to notice, we begin to acknowledge and tenderly remind ourselves that it is okay for us to feel what we need to feel. It is part of the bloom of those symptoms so that they can be changed and shifted. And from this place we breathe. And you might want to breathe right now and just regard this as a kind of an opportunity, a meditation time, to just work this through with me right now. We just breathe and we feel. And we might feel things that hurt and we don't want to feel them. But we have a sense, we have a knowing that if we really want to heal, we must resist that desire to medicate the pain, placate it, cover it up, numb it down. At this point, this is where we need to sit, not reach for the remote or the phone or the fridge or the bottle or whatever it might be. We might want to talk about it, but I want to say that absolutely talking has a very important place, that we talk out our pain. But if it's only really to repeat or regurgitate an old story, in just going to that as our vice, we might find that we miss the escape hatch. We miss the healing moment. We miss the lessons that our soul is eager for us to learn. And so now we come to accept that embodying true healing is a solitary journey. And the one and only way to transmute our shadows into light is to sit with them and breathe through them, to sit with that fear, that anxiety. And when we can do that slowly, something begins to happen. It may be happening for you even right now, and that is that instead of feeling only and feeling trapped in those feelings, we move into a place of observation. We begin to take a step back. We begin to observe ourselves experiencing our pain. We realize that yes, it is me that is feeling that deep anguish, but there's an aspect, a greater aspect of me that's observing the me that is feeling the pain and thinking the thoughts. And the you that's observing you is able, in that powerful, untouched place that we all have, to extend compassion and care and love to the parts of us that are wounded. We are able to stand in that powerful observation place, as it were, in Christ, that's seated with Christ in heavenly realms, and speak to the bullies that are part of the story, perhaps even our own bully who is extending condemnation, ridicule, pain, unkindness. The roots of that pain coming from those who didn't know what they were doing, were only acting according to the light they had in the moment, just like we were. And in that powerful observation place, we now speak to those things that are still influencing us even to this day. And we begin to decide, I'm ready to let you go. I'm ready to release you from my story. And we breathe. And we begin to ease our way toward an acceptance for how we feel and how we came to feel it. And our courage grows, and our breathing slows. And there is maybe a tear and a sense of all-consuming silence. Maybe even a smile. And a deeper breath now for the space for the full breadth of the pain that we feel. Maybe another surge of sadness washes over, but instead of ducking and hiding, we allow ourselves to get wet, to allow ourselves to feel the stark coldness and the waters of harsh disappointment drip down our face and down our soul. And we become aware of ourselves, observing the aspects of our being that are in pain. And from that I am place, something happens. We begin to detach our identity from the pain itself. We begin to remember that the greater part of who I am is observing this other aspect that's in the story that hurt me. Not invalidating the pain, not minimizing it, not refusing the lessons that the pain has to teach, but simply detaching now and deciding, yes, deciding that I will not let a story of tarnished self-image be the dominating influence in my life any longer. And I breathe and remember who I am, and from that timeless I am existence, which never changes and abides eternally, now a door cracks open to a new perception. And maybe if I'm ready, I am able to usher my pain to the door and allow it to exit from my being with an exhale of release. I see things in a new way. I know things in a new way, and remember that somewhere in the recesses of my soul, now finding even access to that I am connected to all things, connected to the source of all things. And from this timeless I am place, the space around you expands and you detach and find yourself afloat in seas of radiant light, alone, but not, singular, but not alone, connected, but free to stretch now and allow the ashes of loss, the ashes of anguish to fall from your shoulders. And a shine breaks through, soft shimmers from within, and there you see it. You see gold. You see the gold that emerges now from the testing of your faith in the searing heat of pressure. And you see the marvelous work and weight of glory it has wrought for you. And now, even in these minutes, the sounds of alchemy come to your ears as poison is transmuted into pure gold. You rise, you breathe, and you are glad to live so deeply. And there, friends, in just those 10 minutes as we sit with our pain, as we learn to practice doing that in our own space and in our own way, of not rushing away, of not shoving it under the carpet, of not finding a way to numb it down and dumb it down and cover it up. If we can just sit with our pain, if we can breathe through it and even use those words as a meditation, if you like, we realize that what we can do is come into a very powerful place of the observer, where we decide that, yes, our pain was valid. Yes, it feels dreadful. It feels uncomfortable. The rockiness that we feel, the turbulence is extremely uncomfortable. But when we will sit with it and love ourselves in that space, Spirit speaks to us divine wisdom for the very thing that we need to apply, the salve, the ointment to the wound that is still bleeding, and we find a way to crack open a door to a new perception and usher our pain, having bloomed now, having surfaced, having been realized, having been acknowledged, having been validated as it so needs to be, but ushered out of our life, and a new surge of true health and healing and wholeness and peace takes its place. The emotions we feel are sometimes heavy and they are dense. They can feel stuck even, and they are likely attached to a story, to more specifically to beliefs that have been crystallized within us around that story. And it could be any story. But if we want to transmute our emotions into something that feels lighter and freer, as we've said, brushing them away and pretending they're not there, and at the same time not wallowing in them or rehearsing them, if we do that, it's not going to help us to allow them to surface and move and transmute. Knowing that our emotions are essentially energy that can be interpreted and understood through specific feelings in our body, and therefore distinguished and identified, acknowledged and appropriately validated, this is extremely helpful. Knowing that our emotions are essentially energy means that they can be moved, they can be shifted, they can be changed, and they can be transmuted. Agents of change are many. They can include exercise, physical movement, laughter, meditation, deep breathing, reframing, embracing our inner child, spending some time loving ourselves with kindness and compassion through our discomfort, not telling ourselves to get over it quickly, but just sitting with that pain and loving ourselves in that, reminding ourselves to observe our feelings and our thoughts as though they are clouds passing in the sky or traffic that we don't have to run out and stop. Also, adjusting our perspectives, doing body work, breath work, free writing, drawing, journaling, talking things out, moving questions through our soul, asking ourselves questions, and then releasing, actually identifying what beliefs we're holding that are keeping us in pain, and releasing those old beliefs and rewriting new ones. All of these things are excellent tools for moving energy, moving emotion through us and raising our vibration or climbing the emotional scale. This is what we call doing the work, doing the soul work. And we can do it alone, and we can do it with someone. And when we're in partnership or relationship with someone, this is true transformation. When we can hold space for one another to feel our feelings without our identity or our safety being wrapped up in what another person is feeling. If we can detach and allow space for that person to move their poison into gold, and allow our own self to do that as well. We can allow our furnaces of affliction to be opportunities, seasons of intense heat, by which we allow the burning away of unhealthy habits, destructive behavior patterns, unrefined characteristics, things that are hindering us from reaching our full potential and our destiny. The key, friends, is to allow our fiery trials, to allow our pain, if we will dare to sit with it, to refine us and not consume us. And there's going to be times, perhaps you're even experiencing this right now, where your life feels burned to the ground with only fragments and ashes remaining. The truth is, renovation, true renovation, typically requires the tearing down of an existing structure to make room for something new. Tearing down a belief, tearing down a pattern that is no longer serving you. And there is much pain experienced in the loss incurred in renovation. There are truly areas of our soul right now that are being renovated. Those core beliefs, those thought patterns, many things being affected in our lives. And with this transformational opportunity, we have three choices. We will either stay in old forms, or we will hang out in the rubble of partially renovated lives because we're resisting processing the pain and letting it speak to us and allow the full healing. Or, number three, we'll work with the master craftsman in reconfiguring our lives in a new way, a fresh way, a lighter way. And this process It's often not comfortable. But the good news is that once we identify areas of our lives that need renovation, that need rewiring, and it's installed and utilized, we may find that we never experience the anguish connected to former energy patterns in quite the same debilitating way ever again. And even the shortest time of sitting with our truth and observing it from our higher in Christ self, our God-empowered natured self, can make the hugest difference. And after that, we may go for a walk or move the energy in a way. Once we've identified something, we'll move it through us. We'll remind ourselves of our new belief. When we ascend to a higher mind perspective, increasingly operating in our mastery and our sovereignty, the things which used to twist our gut and drain us and bring us to tears and bring us to panic cease to have power over us. In our beautiful humanity, we allow ourselves the space to feel what we need to feel. And then with that work, that movement work, if we would dare to do it, we allow the elements within us to reform and transmute into something else. We turn poison into gold. As we close out this time, here are 5 ways to elevate your state, 5 grounding principles that when applied daily can help to navigate with a little bit more ease the turbulence of these bumpy times of renovation on every level. The first one is this: decide. Yes, exercise your power to decide at the beginning of the day, in the middle of the day, in the early evening hours, or before every segment of your life that is taking you in a different direction. Decide how you're going to think, act, respond, and feel in those hours ahead. Rehearse as though watching yourself rehearsing a play. Rehearse these intentions until your body connects with them. Rehearse them in your mind's eye until your body connects with them and you feel as if your whole being is carrying these intentions in an integrated way. It's perhaps difficult at first, but the more you practice, you'll find that within seconds you're able to rehearse your intentions of how you're going to think and how you're going to feel and how you're going to stay in a very calm place that allows you to observe rather than get all into it and get lost in the like a splinter in the woodwork. The second one is stay in gratitude. Stay receptive to an expectation of good. Know, be assured and confident that everything is working out for you. And once you become the kind of hero that's not afraid to face their emotional pain, everything really will work out for you, because nothing will overwhelm you. Nothing will be able to overcome you. Even the hardest ripping through your body of anxiety and fear, you will know how to sit with it, to talk with it, to learn from it, what it is that it's telling you, what root it is that it's exposing, perhaps from your childhood, that's causing a trauma reaction in your body. And you will become a master at allowing everything to work for you. And number 3 is this: check in with your body and your heart. That's how we do this. Listen, ask, what are you telling me? Heart, what are you telling me? Body, what are you telling me? What is spirit showing me in this moment? Number 4, practice awareness. I'll say that again. Practice awareness of the constant, never-ending presence of love in you and all around you. Have a continual awareness of this love. Be aware that it permeates even the saddest, the most difficult of emotions. This love holds everything together. It is always present, and we are never separated from it. And number 5, compassionately offer yourself kind encouragement for the progress that you are making, and allow every experience of contrast to clarify your goals and your truest heart's desires. I hope that you have been encouraged by this message. A little glimpse, and again, it will be different for each one of us, but a glimpse of the how to turn that poison, that pain, into gold. It's a practice. Most people don't catch it overnight. One has to be willing to be very courageous, to sit with their pain and allow it to be transmuted. But these are the true heroes. These will be the light bearers, sublime, of days to come, who will literally be transforming their whole being to be containers of light, containers of that peace, the peace of God that surpasses all understanding. I trust that you have been blessed by this, and share it out. Hit the subscribe button if you want to have access to more videos like this. Hit the notification bell as well, and you'll get a notification when each new video comes up. It's been a joy to be with you today. Do that work. Turn that poison into gold. It's possible. We can ride out these turbulent times and fully land our God-empowered nature, no longer forfeiting it or forsaking it. We're learning to land it fully in the earth. God bless.